Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and today we're gonna dive into the next session of our mega sampler full 28 pack, and today we're gonna go, let's have a look what we could take. I think today, yes, we're gonna do the organic Gyokuro from Mr. Sakamoto, and it is this time the Cha Meijin. So I can show it to you like this. Cha Meijin samidori cultivar. So one of the finest, one of the sweetest and umami richest. So a little bit out of savory and sweet notes are pretty strong with this tea. And this tea we're gonna dive into today. So let's have a look at the tea leaves first. So, as you might know, Gyokuro or Gyokuro, how it's called in Japan, is actually one of the sweetest cultivar, one of the sweetest and also theanine richest. So it's very strong in the amino acids. So you can see that the leaves of this tea are amazingly dark. So very long shaded, 21 days, this one here. You can find even Gyokuros where you are up to 28 or to even 30 days. But after these are then non-organic because the shading is quite a stressful process for the plant, and the organic green teas, they are not able to sustain such a long period. So this is mostly done with the chemicals of the pesticides, where they're even driving the umami a little bit stronger. For me, the umami then becomes a little bit artificial, a little bit too strong. But this is something which has been done for a long time with the the industry of the Japanese green tea production. But we are concentrating solely on non-pesticide or pesticide-free and organic, if possible, teas. So this one here has been shaded for 21 days. So let's talk a little bit about the samidori. Samidori is quite a sensitive cultivar, so you don't find it often in the region, the colder region like Shizuoka. You still find some farmers who do plant it, but then it has to be protected, so wind protected and if possible warmer region of the tea field. If you're going more to the south, you see then more and more the samidori cultivar, which has been registered in the 1990s. And it is actually also a crossbreed, but it is also a very theanine rich. So if you're looking for a tea which is which has kind of a strong effect in terms of concentration, stress reduction, and also bring you more into this more meditative state, because the theanine is able to break through the blood-brain barrier and to trigger the alpha brain waves in your brain. So the higher the concentration of the theanine, the better you will have, or the higher the effect will be. So if you're looking for a tea which is triggering more the alpha brain waves, try to go for Gyokuro. And if you are going for Gyokuro, maybe even try to get a cultivar, so a so-called tea varietal, which is rich, even richer than other tea plants. And here with the samidori, you're definitely on a good spot. So this one here, great for meditation. So if you want to do and you dive a little bit more into your meditation, this tea could absolutely help you do that. Good. So what do we do with this tea? So first we take the 5 grams, which we have in this pack. Voila, try to get out all the leaves. Let's maybe have a first smell. So it's quite light. It's always with the samidori, you have quite a light sweetness in the dry leaves, and you have a little bit typical for green tea, clearly a little bit more this vegetal, a little bit greener taste. Good. So important with the Gyokuro, don't brew it too hot. Here I have now 65 degrees. You can even go down to 60 or 55. Often Mr. Sakamoto, he's brewing the tea between 50 and 55 degrees Celsius, which is, I would say, around 130, 135 Fahrenheit. Normally we suggest to go to 140. Now I know I'm down now at 61 degrees, so we are around 140, 145 Fahrenheit. So then leaving it in the water for 2 minutes. And why to do so? The Gyokuro is itself tightly rolled with its leaves. So often you find fine needle shapes with the Gyokuro. So this is important then that you brew it for a longer time. So 2 minutes is really a good amount of time to brew this tea. I just take a sip of water. So when we brew it then for this first 2 minutes, then what happens is that the tea leaves will open up. So in the first brewing, I expect the tea to give really a lot of its sweetness to the tea. So I'm expecting the first brewing to be a little bit sweeter, and then the second could bring in a little bit more of a green, also a greener color, and also a little bit of a greener taste, meaning that we're going more maybe on the spinachy side. This is something we definitely will now explore. And here with the first brewing, I think we're slowly getting there, giving it 15 seconds more, and then we should be fine with the 2 minutes. Good. So, done. Then we pour it. When you go to Japan, or when you go in Japan into a coffee and you're asking, or you go to a real tea or coffee house or tea house, then often you get the Gyokuro with small amounts of water. This is to get a really strong brew out of the tea. Here, this time I took around 5 ounces of water. I like this amount because I like it when the tea gives a little bit more of this hydrating side of it. But if we really want to have a super complex, very strong and intense flavor, you definitely can go down with the water to even 2 to 3 ounces. So in Japan, we even had once a tea where they just brewed the Gyokuro with only 30 milliliters. So they just put some drops on the leaves, and then they poured these drops in very small glasses. So it was quite an experience, but I like the tea like this better. That's why I brew it like this. What you can see when you look at the color, so there's not this intense green, which we know maybe from a Fukamushi style tea, or even a sencha, which can be a little bit more greener. Here we have a really cloudy theanine, so amino acid rich glass. So this is really a distinction point also of the Gyokuro. So you have a little bit more this golden shiny color and not so much this intense very strong green. So let's have the first sip. I get a lot of honey melon, get a lot of this umami kind of savory sweet flavor profile you get from the green tea. But very kind of sweet. A density of the water as well is telling me that this tea is really rich in amino acids, it's rich in minerals. And this is what happens in the last stages of the shading, especially when you look at the 21 days, the last 7 days, you have 3 layers of coverage, which really cut out the sunlight completely, and this makes the plant absorb even more nutrients from the soil, and that's why this tea becomes more dense, mineral rich, and you can really feel it in the texture of the tea. So it's quite an experience, very different to a normal sencha, for example. There's a little bit more of a heaviness, but a sweet roundness to it. Full, complex taste profile coming from a more umami taste, then giving you a little bit this honey melon density. You get a little bit of banana peel even. So quite sweet and savory at the same time. Complete different experience than from a normal sencha. So let's go to the second one. Second brewing, very simple. Only 20 seconds, that's more than enough. And we give it a go. And now you can see already in the second brewing we are driving, or we're kind of shifting more into the green area. So before I had the typical beautiful golden color, and now we're shifting much more into a green color. So we're not that golden anymore, much more green. So expect the tea to show me a little bit more of its greener side, a little bit more of greener hints, spinachy hints, maybe edamame. So let's have a look. So it's still very sweet, but we are moving much more into kind of a greener, a little bit, I get a little bit of edamame, but I get a little bit of fresh spinach as well. But still quite a strong sweet corn, kind of this umami sweet corn. I always refer the umami a little bit into the sweet corn, so this is still very present, and it just gives a little bit more space to a greener note. So I expect now the third brewing, when I will do it, to move a little bit back into the more sweeter and a little bit less on the greener note. But the first and the second brewing is definitely a very, very big change in terms of, then the first brewing is very sweet, strong, round, and also dense. Here it's lifting up a little bit. It has a little bit more of a greener side. It has a little bit more of a spinachy flavor, and it has a little bit more of a beautiful kind of umami, nicely balanced with edamame and a little bit of a spinachy note. Good. So a very special, very sweet tea. So no astringency at all with this one here. So if you ever go for a samidori and you really want a tea which has no astringency with the samidori, it's definitely a good catch, because you will experience a lot of sweetness, a little bit of more refreshing, maybe a spinachy or a greener side to it, but it will always stay pretty strong in the sweet corner, and it is a sweet taste which is coming from this fine, a little bit frost sensitive and very well curated cultivar, mainly cultivated in the south of Japan. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you like this one here, and if you ever have a question, do not hesitate, leave us a comment or write us a message. It's a pleasure to answer all your questions. Bye.